Thank you so much for having me. I'm very, very excited to be part of Control-Alt. And I'm here to, I'm just joking. I was going to say Alt F4. It's actually Control-Shift community. I just want to say I'm very excited to talk to you about filmmaking with AI. And the concept I wanted to talk to you is latent space cinema. So just some preface. I have no programming experience whatsoever. Vibe coding, I put my hand up to. That's all I'm very familiar with. So I come more from a creative background, and we're gonna get to know a little bit about that. So here we go.
Nice.
Down. That's me. Yeah. So just a little bit about myself. Wow, very nice. I'm actually a Toronto-based multidisciplinary artist. I work as an actor for Actra, so I work for Netflix and Apple TV and all these different shows. Great times. And behind the scenes, I also do a lot of pre-production work for companies like A&E, Discovery, and History, and actually utilizing AI. So that's going to be coming out in hopefully within the year or so. But that's a little bit about me. You can also check out my QR code later if you want to link up on the socials, all that jazz over there. And today, I keep doing this for some reason. I just want to go a little bit further back before I got into AI. So in about 2016, I had lost my job and I was living in Korea, and then I somehow decided to go to the Amazon and do ayahuasca. Yeah, it was crazy. Long story short, naturally, as you do, you end up making a psychedelic coloring book, right? So this is the book I made a few years later called Pareidolia Gateway. And for people who are not familiar with the term pareidolia, it is the psychological phenomenon or experience of seeing something that's not supposed to be there, and you add meaning to it, like dragons in the cloud, or Jesus on toast, apparitions, the face on Mars. I can go on and on. And the whole point of this book, how I started it, was I used to go blindfold myself, and then I would just do all these random scribbles, and then start to draw my way out of that. And the whole purpose of that was to show that sometimes it's very intimidating as an artist to just stand in front of a blank canvas or a piece of paper, because you get very intimidated by yourself and your ego. And the whole part of that is having no ego and just accepting the weirdness and let the pareidolia effect evoke yourself out of that. And this is before I got into AI, but one phrase I had put over here, I said, I created by first making random scribbles to evoke the pareidolia effect and then draw my way out of it like a human Google Deep Dream algorithm. What foreshadowing? I had no idea what I would get myself into. And what was interesting about these type of drawings, I would do it every week on Twitch. It would take about like 3 to 5 hours. And they were all different, but they were very common in terms of the theme, which is about the dream world, about collective unconscious, and very Lovecraftian horror-like vibes and stuff. And later on, as I got into AI, I started to kind of like in the height of the controversy with creative. I don't think it ever went away, but at the point where it started to make like a lot of bad buzz, so to speak, around 2022, I had taken my book, I took all my drawings, and I made a customized model out of it with Stable Diffusion 1.5. And then I put it onto Civitai, and I just told everyone as a personal manifesto, I was like, hey, as a creative artist, I think this is a really great opportunity for us to really push the boundaries. With a lot of disruptive tools, I think artists should be responsible and should be in the forefront to really explore. And that's where we're going to get a lot of more insight out of this stuff. And it was really awesome to see people creating works out of my book. And it was familiar, wasn't exactly the same, but it was just so cool to see another facet of people enjoying or exploring your work and with their own creativity. And then later on, I started to do a lot of tests like this, where I would take something called style transferring. There's a tool called Magnifique, where you can take your line drawing and then you can apply like a stylization of a color or a tone, and then later on you can do things with animation by getting the first frame to match the last frame, and just doing stories like this. And then it just really came to this realization that, a lot of arts or just creative things that you're doing, they never really finished. You just usually abandon them. And then you can always revisit it, and you can always find a new way to readapt it, which I think is really cool. And so the biggest question I had to figure out to tackle with everyone is figuring out, what is the latent space? So join me on this ADHD journey about what it is, which is ADD in high definition. Okay. So the technical term is latent space refers to a compressed multidimensional space where machine learning models represent complex data like images, text, and audio, and using only its most essential and informative features. Quite a mouthful, I know. However, for me, the metaphorical definition is the latent space is a simulacrum. I know, that's so rude. Of the internet subconscious. And it's a hidden world of visual possibility made tangible through prompts. So for me, what blew my mind, even at the time when I was just using 100 million parameters compared to what we have now, it's the fact that we're taking all this information about ourselves as we know it to this very point, to the beginning of time, just us as humanity through the internet. We're compressing all this information and via the internet, and we're able to interact with this in some way. And it's not supposed to be a representation of reality. It's a simulacrum. It's like a mimicry of that. And through this, there are so many amazing discoveries that way. So a very, very simple breakdown of what diffusion is. So for every image that's being trained, you would have something, for example, the girl with the pearl earring, and it will go through a forward diffusion process. So little by little through steps, 10 steps, 20 steps, all the way. It'll keep going and going until it's all static. Well, this is the point where I like to call it thinking sand. And it's taking that image and it's breaking down into terms and words like girl with a pearl earring, the artist's name, it's a woman, it's an earring, it's the oil painting. It's taking all these things into accountability. And every single word, just like in real life, has a weight to it. And these words can change its weight and value, through generations and centuries. Like I am the creator of destroyer of worlds, like all these different types of things that we can say. So traditional photos develop from reality, and diffusion does the opposite here. It starts with noise and remembers its way back to an image. And for me, this is kind of like a reverse Polaroid, kind of like the memento scene, basically. You just start with that whole diffusion state, and it goes back, and it creates a new meaning. And you'll notice that at the end, it's not 100% the same. And even if I use the exact same prompt, the exact same name, and all that stuff, I'll get iterations of that. And every single one of these is not exactly the same, but it is kind of like a different interpretation of that memory based on the neural network. And this is a neural network, not exactly, but this is my interpretation of it. So the neural network is a web spun from every pattern it's seen on the internet, like I mentioned, and built from our desires, our fears, our aesthetics, and archetypes. And there's a lot of bias involved with that too, and there's a lot of exploration in those things. And it's just so interesting how our words is our way of communicating and experiencing our realities with other people. So that's why I find you can find your own style and uniqueness just through your way of using words to create images. And because of this latent space, it just gradually became this phenomenon that it started to expand into cinema. Once we got from text to image, and then image to video, and then now we have text to music. Now we have LLMs, which is another huge thing, by the way. So the two things I think that made a huge difference is generative AI models for text to visuals kind of leveled the playing field for anyone to be creative, so to speak, right? Same thing for LLMs, where it gave that ability for anyone to be technical through natural language. And I think that too is so amazing for myself. Like I said, I'm a non-traditional programmer at all, but the fact that I can have a discussion like this and then build something from that is kind of mind-blowing to me. So this is one of the first earliest photos ever taken. And this is the first picture of a human being taken in Paris in 1838 already. Wow, time flies. By Louis Daguerre, otherwise known later on with the daguerreotype film. And you know, film is ubiquitous. Like, we use cameras all the time. It's like on our cell phones and stuff. But when it first came out, it was not necessarily considered an artist's tool. It was more for archiving reality as we know it, more of as a scientific tool. And here are some interesting quotes of that time when people started to utilize cameras for artistry, like Man Ray or other artists. And one of the quotes here is, "The camera is a mechanical device which records a moment in time, but the photograph itself is a mere reproduction of reality, lacking the soul, emotion, and interpretive touch of an artist's hand." Anon. It was Anon, guys. Another one here is, "Photography has made it too easy for anyone to claim the title of artist," okay? "The true artistry lies in the skill, creativity, and imagination required to create a painting or sculpture, not in simply pressing a button." Wow. John Doe, art critic in the 19th century. The original OG, John Doe. So all this to say, I feel like, for me, even though I come from a traditional background, I studied animation, traditional in 3D, it's not like that for me, even though you can create an illustration piece through text to image. For me, this is more like each prompt is a coordinate, and the latent space is this map. And you go into latent space. You travel in there. This is like a whole different dimension. And I love going into that, and I love exploring so many rabbit holes because it is truly infinite. And this is where we get into like the seeds of possibility. So like I mentioned before, every image, you know, is diffused and we get it out, but every image is a seed. And in Midjourney, there are over 4 billion seeds, okay? Only in Midjourney, over 4 billion seeds. Each seed is a coordinate in the latent space, a gateway to a specific visual moment. Here's some examples. So single prompt, different seeds. The prompt is portrait photo of a woman. And I put a few parameters there, chaos, AR, it means aspect ratio, raw, which means like style raw, a little bit more photographic, you know, aesthetic, and etc. And then you notice the same prompt, different faces. And then when you explore a little bit more with different models, you'll get different biases and ethnicities and all that stuff as well. In Midjourney as well, they have a thing called sref. And sref is known as style reference. So you can take one of those images and you can apply a style on top of that. And there's 10 billion in total for that. So same prompt, and then each one is a style reference, and they have their own unique code. It's like --9A4532, blah, blah, blah. But you can see like just the tip of that and like how deep you can go with exploring the latent space with this. So combine those two alone, there's over 171 quadrillion possible images. Let that sink in. Yeah. Which is kind of amazing. Like, this is another way of exploring this inner microcosm universe of humanity and the world, and so many unexplored things, but it's already there. You just need to go find the coordinates, and it's through your own natural language or the way how you communicate. So I want to show you a little bit about the evolution of the latent space with my own personal experiences here. This is one of the earliest ones I've ever done. I'm a little shy. It's a little bit so-so. This is done in 2021, and this was made with a model called VQGAN, General Adversarial Network, I think, right? And this is the prompt that I used at the time. This is how epic I was trying to think. And like, this is so epic. To me, this is mind-blowing. I have an affinity. This is like nostalgia for me. This is the prompt. A vast, intricate, and complex heavenly futuristic empress city, opalescent starship, floating above heavenly clouds, interstellar skies, breathtaking moon, somber sunset, 8K ultra rendering. That was a thing back in the day. You put 8K, 4K, UHD, every camera you could think of. This is 2023, same prompt. This is Midjourney version 4. Okay, and then we go into 2025, same prompt. And now we have video as well. So this is, oh, well, you guys got goosebumps too? Yeah. So it's so a natural progression of where this is leading to, right? In terms of filmmaking and like how this is evolving. It's just such a wild thing to start from that very beginning. And then even appreciate the prompts that you have in the beginning. Like, can you even guess what that was, that prompt? Like, and I did it again on 2024, and then I did it again today. And it's the same idea. And I can't wait to see 2 years later what that's like. It's gonna be like in my face and be like, hey, what's up? And we're like, gonna hang out. It's gonna be here next time instead of me. But this is also another testament to show how important your ideas are as well. You know, some people, they feel a little bit privy to not wanting to share their prompts. I totally get it, because it's what they call the secret sauce. But I would say your ideas are really important. And even if you're starting now, it's probably amazing, but I was like super amazed at that time. And the biggest lesson I learned via psychedelics is never give in to astonishment. Just if you get astonished, you'll be satisfied right away. Just keep going and going and going, and then you're going into deeper rabbit holes with that. So cinema in the age of simulacra now, this is what we're talking about. This is kind of like the parallel of traditional filmmaking and latent space filmmaking. So you have your script, director of photography, set design, storyboards, editing. And this is like the parallel to that. You work with your prompt, your seed stack, basically just prompting a rig, so to speak. And then your prompt modifiers, which is like sref or style referencing and all those different things. Even set design as well. Storyboards is just iterations, just work that out. Personally for me, I like to use Figma. You know, I know it's for UI and apps, but as an open brain, I just like an open canvas and just kind of put everything around, so it's super helpful. And then editing with like Premiere Pro, Kling, which is a video AI, or Runway, or UDO for music. And this is kind of like my current cinematic workflow. It's probably changing today, because everything's changing so much all the time. So this is probably outdated. But it's still super useful if you're ever interested. In the middle is ChatGPT, just because I go in and out of that at the beginning of the process, in the middle of the process, at the end. It's just like my all-around go-to. Any other type of LLM is great too, but I just started with ChatGPT first, so I just kind of stuck with that. And then, you know, going into animation, I use tools like Kling AI, VO3, which is a cool hot one as well, Runway. Music, there's Suno, and there's also UDO, which I kind of like more for cinematic music. And 11 Labs. 11 Labs is text to voice or text to audio. So I can take my voice and I can make it sound like someone else, or I can prompt a character and make that voice, or choose their list of characters to make characters speak in a short film that I'm making. And then later on, when I'm building like a film or an idea, I get that sref, and then I also combine it with like a mood board. And this is through Midjourney. So Midjourney, you can get a bunch of images from anywhere, you can make your own, but once I make that seed, that prompt stack, I'm building up that vibe, and then I select the ones that work for me, and I just put them all into this mood board, and then it'll give me a code, which is up there, like --PM, and all those string of numbers. And you can customize any type of aesthetic that you want to build off of. So again, like from the 171 quadrillion possibilities with that as well, it's like, it's never ending. And then you can see, for example, I usually generate like over 100 images, and just a combination of sref images and MJ mood boards, etc. Cool. And these are some ChatGPT apps that I made. Later on in the QR code, if you want to check it out, I have those for free. So I have it on Gumroad. You can get like a free download, because it's great for anyone to try it out. But I made 3 different apps. One is a visual architect. For me, it helps with world building. So you can ask for it to help build an idea. It's trained on understanding all different types of prompting systems for like VO3 or for Midjourney or just even my own personal style. And Melody Muse for music and AI Video Visionary for video prompting. So you can take an image that you have, you can just slap that up there and it'll just give you a prompt that would work best for that, and then you can refine and iterate on that. Now I'm getting really into like AI filmmaking. I think it's such an awesome exploration of creativity now that you able to create these high concept ideas and really play with the limitations of the tools. And really, I think that's where you can get really creative, when you have a sandbox and then you have those limits and you figure that out, and then you really figure out what your tone or your voice is and techniques. So this was a film that I made, I think last year already, called Waking Fire. It was in the top 50 finalists for Project Odyssey, which was over like 5,000 submissions. So I'm very grateful to get that opportunity. But for me, this all started with an SREF by getting like an image in this aesthetic and thinking about, the common trope that you see with World War II and aliens. And I was thinking, instead of aliens, it should just be like a dragon and just really explore that. And later on, I would get like a single sentence. And the sentence that really helped me drive this story was, war is the language I was forced to learn. And then that was like the driving point to keep exploring this story. So I can always get ChatGPT to help me write everything out, but I kind of like to just explore my own and not just try to, dish out a film in a day. I'll take my time with things. And then I'm also working on some projects too.
I just want to make sure the laptop doesn't die on you.
Oh yeah, I appreciate that. That would be the most crucial time here. So this is another project I'm working on here. This is actually, I'm working on a game, vibe coding. I'll let you know if that works or not. But the concept of Goanu is I'm making a survival horror game. And yeah, that's me. I'm making a short film. I'm putting myself into as an actor. We'll get into that later on, but like actors and more, autonomy in the stuff that you're doing. But it's basically a haunted, cursed apartment complex, like somewhere in Southeast Asia, in a fictional place called Goanu. And then it was abandoned. It's like Montauk Project, kind of like Stranger Things, kind of like a Silent Hill vibe thing going on, and really playing with like AI to make procedurally generated rooms by people. So they help build the game. Like I'm really into things like the back rooms or like SCP. Like I love how the internet, that subculture are building things. And I think that AI with this type of aesthetic and tone, it would be perfect for that. So hit me up if you ever want to help build this. So I'm gonna show you now one of the first videos I ever made for this project, this IP. And this was made with Runway Gen 1. The very first video model that can come out. So hopefully this sound's working. Let's see how this goes. Oh, sound? Okay. I can make the sound effects. But, okay, we got it from here. That's okay. But this is just Gen 1. So like Midjourney version 4, that's what this was like. And I just find AI already innately horrific. Like it's easy to create monsters and all that different stuff. So there's an innate horror to it. Black Mirror, what season are we in now? We're living, right? And I'm gonna show you another one. We won't be able to hear the audio mostly, but the next video that I made recently about Goanu is made with VO3. And then every scene that you'll see from there is all text to video. And some minor editing with some sounds and whatnot. Everything cool? Okay, let's see how this goes.
You can bring the mic to the...
생각까지 내가 안 나오면 이 테이프를 태워.
She said if I don't make it out by morning, then just burn this tape. Yeah. Okay, so while this is happening, let's explain what I'm doing here. The concept of this is I want to keep building these monsters that are happening in this place. I apologize to my son who's watching right now. He's seen it before, it's okay. But yeah, all that was mostly like text to video, and even like the property of Gowanu, the recording, the date and time. So I'm making like a personalized app to kind of showcase those things. And later on, I'm gonna just keep playing with those tools, right, and see how it develops from there. And this is my most recent film. Fortunately, I don't think we'll be able to watch everything here because of the sound, but at least you can, I guess, get the QR code, and then you can like check it. It's on my link tree later on. But I've been doing the rounds here. This recently got accepted into Bali AI Film Festival, Seoul International AI Film Festival, and a few others, which thank you. Thank you. I did it, Mom! I'm doing it! You did it, Grandpa! And this one was very interesting too, because I decided to do all of this in Korean, and the protagonist is a female. I'll play it while I'm talking a little bit. And actually had my wife do the voiceover, and then I put her voice into 11 Labs to match that character. And the whole concept of this story is about experiencing the last dream of the universe, and what would that be like? And it's about this one girl, she's just traversing this dreamscape. The opposite of horror, maybe it's a bit horrific, I'm not sure. But you can see from the beginning of what I was doing before with Gowanu to something now, working with character consistency, music, voicing, sometimes even acting as well. So if you're interested in watching the rest of this film, you can check it out on my link tree. I don't want to spoil it here for you, so you can enjoy the full experience later. But just all this to say that I feel that creativity is internal in the sense that it can never be destroyed. It's only transferred through. And what we're seeing here, this is not the death of art because of AI. This is just a transitioning point. This is like stacking of technologies from the industrial age to information age to what we're doing now. And then we're living in a crazy, amazing, wild time. And I think this is also an amazing time for artists to really be bold and take advantage of these tools to create these amazing stories. And I think, again, my goal for Artist Journey is to unlock the creative potential for 1 billion people. And I know that is such a big dream to go for, but I think it's good to have a big dream, and everything you're working is towards that trajectory. It's aligning for all those things. And I really hope that to inspire people, do workshops. There's an AI filmmaking meetup on the 30th. If you're ever interested, you can check out the link tree as well. And especially in Toronto, I think that's really important, because on X and LinkedIn, it's like a very close-knit community, like everyone knows each other. But I think it's awesome to be in places like this where we get to know each other. I want to see like Toronto thrive in terms of AI and creativity. Like we have TIFF, like how do we not have like an AI film festival yet? Like I really want to do like these big things here. I study animation. That's like a huge pain point. I really want to help them, because the two most important things is exposure and intent. Even if you're wearing the red tag, the red sticker today, it's good that you're here though, because it's exposure, and the most important thing that people are have a lot of angst about is like your intent and how you use it. So that's to me like some of the most important parts. And that is everything. Woo! Thank you so much, everyone.